I have this noise in my head.
I can't. It's so goddamn loud. And I can't make it stop.
It'll stop. One day it'll go quiet.
Hey, how's it going? So yeah, we're switching it up today. Originally I wanted to talk about Man of Steel and I prepared to do so. I rewatched the film a few times and I even wrote a full-on essay. I was getting ready to record it, but I couldn't. If you follow me on Twitter, at KYD Films, you'll have seen that I'm taking a break from Cape flicks. Honestly, there's nothing to really talk about with them and I'm bored with the genre. Though Zack Snyder's Justice League just came out and I'm very excited to see it, I don't know if I'm going to be doing an essay on it. So while everyone is covering Justice League, Spider-Man No Way Home theories, and the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I decided to break away from the superhero shenanigans. So yeah, I'm taking a break from Cape flicks. I wanted to talk about something original, something I loved, and today I think I found it. That's right, folks. Remember the La La Land video? My worst performing video and most unwanted video essay? Well, it's time for another one of those. An essay that nobody asked for, nobody looked up, and nobody wanted, but shit, I needed to talk about it. I need to talk about Cherry. Cherry is a 2021 film starring Tom Holland, and I have to say, I loved it. Make no mistake, this movie is not perfect by any means, but shit, I really loved it. Remember when I said Tom Holland was a decent actor? Scratch that, he's a phenomenal actor. He really shines in this film. I cannot get over how spectacular he is in this story. It really goes to show that they aren't using him to his full potential in the MCU Spider-Man films. Yeah, he's great. Let's talk about the directors, Joe and Anthony Russo, aka the Russo Bros. I know this is going to be a hot take, but prior to this, I really wasn't crazy about the Russos. Though I was a big fan of the Winter Soldier and their other Marvel films, there never felt like there was a ton of vision put into them. Although I'll give Winter Soldier credit that it had a specific feel and tone, the others just felt like mass studio productions. And yeah, those productions were well crafted and enjoyable, but they contained no unique feel. You couldn't feel a creative vision in them. But with this film, you can feel the vision, man. You can feel the inspiration, and you can sure as hell feel the personality put into it. Joe and Anthony Russo give this film a very interesting feel. Almost as if you're in a dream, but it feels all too real. So it may be controversial and very unpopular, but I think this is their best work. Well done, Russos. Well done. The story is simply human, the cinematography is crisp for the most part, the style is refreshing, and the acting is superb. Those are really brief descriptions, but trust me, the film is great. Now, I don't really have a set of topics like I usually do, but I just want to cover one topic that I thought was very important to discuss: how Cherry portrays substance abuse. Honestly, there are multiple other themes that I could discuss in this essay: PTSD, heartbreak, desperation, etc., but I think that substance abuse is a really solid theme to discuss because those other themes are implemented into the substance abuse. Let's get into it. Spoiler warning for Cherry. So before diving into the deep end of Cherry, let's talk about the story. The story takes us through the life of Cherry, who goes from student to lover to medic to addict to bank robber. Now I know that the reviews for Cherry are very mixed, but I really couldn't give a shit because I love it. There's no huge fight scene, there's no big antagonist, and there's no mind-blowing plot. The one word I would use to describe this film is human. Incredibly, masterfully, genuinely, and simply human. And that's why I love it. You know me. You know I'm a sucker for slower stories that focus on characters. You know I care way more about the characters than the plot. You could have the best plot ever, but if it doesn't have characters I'm interested in, it's just alright to me. Let's take No Country for Old Men for example. Yes, it's an interesting and intense plot, but the characters aren't spectacular. And no, I'm not saying it's just a decent movie because it's not. It's an awesome movie, but that's really because of Anton. Anyways, this isn't about No Country for Old Men, although if you want to see more about No Country for Old Men, I do have an unscripted review live on the Patreon. Go check it out. The point is, yes, plot is important, but characters will always be way more important in my eyes. Cherry is an emotional ride with characters that you really care about. The first time I watched this movie, it made me feel, but the second time, holy shit, I was crying. The writing feels personal, the acting is insanely good, and the story is tragic. So yes, Cherry may have some very mixed reviews, but I loved it with all my heart. Even the antagonists, except for Black, are lovable in their own ways. Let's take Pills and Coke for example. He can be a real dickhead, but he's still a fun character at times. Okay, maybe he's not lovable, but he's still an enjoyable character at certain parts. Alright, so let's run over the plot. Cherry falls in love with a girl named Emily. Once he tells her how he feels, she begins to draw away from him. She tells him that she's going to school in Montreal, and they break up. Heartbroken, Cherry joins the US Army. After he's enlisted, she apologizes for ending it and they get back together. She cancels her trip to Montreal, but he's already enlisted. He goes to basic training and ships out to the Middle East. Cherry is trained as a medic and he experiences severely traumatic events. He witnesses his fellow troops dying, giving him PTSD. When he returns home, he's unable to sleep or function. Alright, you're all caught up. Kinda. When his Xanax doesn't work for him anymore, he gets hooked on Oxy. When his wife Emily is fed up with him getting high, she decides to take the Oxy as well when she lashes out. From there, they both fall into addiction and they both become heroin junkies. Okay, now you're all caught up. Before we talk about how Cherry portrays substance abuse, I would like to talk about something else. Along with substance abuse, Cherry portrays poverty very well, which I'll have to do soon. If you want to keep me from having to rob banks, be sure to check out the Patreon. For only $3 per month, you'll have short movie reviews, early access to essays, and your name in the credits. If you only want your name in the credits, there's a $1 tier just for that. Supporting the channel in any capacity is always appreciated. Also, go follow my Twitter at KYD Films. Alright, let's get back into the essay. Let's talk about how Cherry portrays substance abuse. Cherry wonderfully showcases the dangerous process of becoming a junkie. It does a pretty great job at depicting how people get into substance abuse, which is through pain. Whether it's physical pain or mental pain, that's how our characters are introduced into the world of addiction. Our main character, Cherry, suffers from severe PTSD, which is affecting his mental and physical pain. Cherry first takes Oxy to ease his physical and mental pain, and it works. Our other lead, Emily, is in emotional distress. Cherry is a different man than he was before, and she can't handle it. She first takes Oxy because of her emotional pain, and again, it works. And for the first time in what feels like ages, Cherry and Emily are happy together. They feel a sense of relief that they haven't felt in years. Cherry does a great job at depicting addiction, and no, I don't just mean the point of rock bottom. Yes, it does a great job at portraying that, but it does so much more. Not only does it show how low the lows are, but it really shows how high the highs are. When Cherry is high on Oxy for one of the first times, it shows how great he feels. When Emily is on edge, it shows how soothing a hit is. This film does a fantastic job at showing how bittersweet substance abuse can be. The only way these characters can feel any sense of relief is to shoot up, and that's fucking sad. This film shows you that substances can make you feel like $1,000,000, but once the effects wear off, you're worse off than before. As I said earlier, when it comes to movies, characters are the most important aspect for me. And as the viewer, as the consumer of this heavy-hitting film, I felt for these characters. When these characters were in love, I felt that love. And when they were happy, truly happy without substances, I felt happy. Seeing these characters depend on heroin was absolutely heartbreaking. This film isn't focused on some insanely complicated plot that'll blow your mind, and it's not trying to do that. Cherry is a well-crafted story about humanity. It's about living, it's about loving, it's about pain, it's about pleasure, it's about the characters. It's about Cherry and Emily, two broken individuals trying to find joy in their joyless lives. There were two moments in the story, two moments that were filled with peace and joy, two moments that absolutely touched me, my absolute two favorite moments in this story, and that's saying something, because, well, I loved every single second of this movie. Well, almost every second. The first scene takes place after Emily takes Oxy for the first time, when she's in bed, high with Cherry. They're relaxed, they're happy, it's heartbreaking, and it's all about what leads up to that moment. Emily has a breakdown because Cherry has become dependent on Oxy in order to function, and this causes her to try the Oxy. The only way these two characters could feel love, could feel any sense of peace, was through avoiding their issues. And for the rest of the film, it stays that way. Hell, it almost kills Emily, but they keep doing it because they don't want things to go back to the way they were before, and that's incredibly sad. The second scene takes place at the end. Cherry is released from prison a changed man. He takes in the fresh air and sunlight and finds a happy, healthy, and vibrant Emily waiting for him. Cherry smiles. This scene is sweet, warm, and joyful, and it's all because of what takes place before. Cherry finally gives himself up and does one final shot of heroin. He goes to prison, goes through withdrawals, attends meetings, and evolves as a human. He genuinely becomes a better person, and when he finally gets released, he finds Emily. Emily, who was previously an anxious, broken addict. And for the first time in years, Emily is happy, and it's natural. Cherry is a film about redemption. It shows that there is hope for the hopeless, and that ultimately, things will get better, and that everything will be okay.